Tomorrow they leave, tomorrow that business closes down, tomorrow something inevitable happens, and guess what? Your revenue just dropped. So just don't do that, right? How do you know if you suffer from this? Just check your revenue concentration. Hey guys, my name is Ricardo Vargas, and this is the journey from 0 to a million and beyond, where I take my experiences, my life lessons, and the mistakes I make along the way, share them with you guys, just so you don't make them as well. Today we have a shorter type of video, just because the one that I was working on still needs a little improvements, and I don't want to just put out random shit. I want to put out things that actually do help. So I'm just going to work on that and probably delay it until next week. But today, nonetheless, is going to be pretty important. And whether you want to keep your business long-term or whether you want to sell it. So let's get to it. All right. So today we're going to be talking about value detractors. So whenever you want to make an exit in your business, there are things that add up to it, that add to the value of it and eventually become a multiplier that takes your revenue and your EBITDA and multiplies it and then gives you the actual value of the company, right? But as there are things that add up to that value, there's also things that subtract from that value. Now, those are value detractors. There's 5 overall, but I'm going to make another video going more deep into this. And I'm just going to be talking about the 3 key value detractors that mostly negatively impact the value of your business. All right, so let's get to it. First key value detractor is key man risk. Now, key man risk is essentially a person that is way too valuable to the business, whether it's the business owner themselves or a unicorn employee. A unicorn employee is essentially like the best type of employee there ever is. And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's just too much risk because that company needs that person to grow or to stay afloat. Therefore, that makes it risky, because if that person or yourself as a business owner gets sick or, God forbid, gets in an accident or things happen, life happens, then guess what? That person's out, you're out, and it's just, the company just crashes down, revenue dips, and who's there to blame? Nobody but the business owner, because he depended on that key person. So how do you know if your business suffers from this? Now, if someone were to buy you out tomorrow, or you were to make an exit on it, or you were to hand it down to your sons or a family member, right? Would that business grow or would it collapse? There's 2 ways this can grow or this can go. So either you're the key man risk and the business depends on you because you take care of all the operations, you take care of all the sales, you take care of this and this and that. That makes you the key man risk. That means that when you sell, when someone goes to buy, or when you go to hand this down, you don't go with the deal. Obviously, you're trying to get out of it. You don't come with the deal. So therefore, once you hand it down, once you sell it, the business plummets down because you're not there to take care of every single little thing because you failed to delegate. That's kind of what we talked about in the last video, delegation. This kind of goes with it. So let's make sure, if you're going to make an exit, you are not the key man risk. And also, you don't have a unicorn employee, so that doesn't happen either way. How do you test for this? The best possible way to test for it, which is a little risky, but I mean, if you go into business, you love risk, or you are willing to accept risk, go on vacation. Take a week off, 2 weeks off if you're that type of risky person, and then just see what happens. If you take a week off and all hell breaks loose and, just no one knows how to do anything out of the blue, that means that you have a key man risk problem. Or if you think that you have a unicorn employee problem, then do the same. Tell them that, PTO, or tell them to go on vacation for a week. If your operations or your sales break down while that person is away, then you have key man risk. Now, you have this big problem, right? How do you actually fix this? So they might be doing a lot, or you might be doing a lot of different things, but focus on the 3 to 4 things that actually do something to the business day to day, right? Whether it's the sales, the marketing, the operations, or the leadership, right? Whether it's any of those or maybe other ones, just break it down into 3 to 4 key things and just have either other people kind of take over that, or just be ready to take over that, right? If that unicorn employee is a piece of poop and disrespectful and a horrible person, but a great employee, then just make sure before you decide to fire that person, make sure you have 2, 3 people ready to take on what he was taking care of before, right? And just have that ready. And if it's you, then obviously just create a leadership team create an operations manager, sales manager, marketing manager, and just delegate out those responsibilities. Don't always focus on one person. And although that might be great long term to where you can, hand them down and have them as a general manager and stuff, don't have them do everything, right? Because even though they're a great person and stuff, things happen. So let's move on to the next. Hey guys, just want to thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing with the videos, with the visuals, the graphics, and the way of storytelling, just let me know. It'd be great to get your feedback. And stay tuned for the horizon. We have a lot of special guests, a lot of topics that we're going to cover. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. And just a quick favor to ask, if you could share this out with anybody that you think might gain any value from this, or anybody that might benefit from listening, that'd be the greatest thing in the world. And apart from that, let's get back to it. The next is key client risk. Now, picture it like the game Sharks and Minnows, right? You have your small clients, your smaller revenue, small lifetime value clients. The sharks or the whales, those big clients that you had to work your butt for and that bring in so much money. It actually kind of cost a little more to fulfill due to them expecting more because they're spending more. It's natural. Now, if your business depends on a client's revenue, which is either 20% or more, then you have key client risk. Why is this important? Likewise to the key man risk, you can't depend on that one client carrying so much revenue, because tomorrow they leave, tomorrow that business closes down, tomorrow something inevitable happens, and guess what? Your revenue just dropped. So just don't do that, right? How do you know if you suffer from this? Just check your revenue concentration. Overall, you should have this data. You just need to find it. Just figure out what percentage of revenue each client has. And then if you see one that has 20% or more, then you have a whale, you have a shark. Now, how to fix this can go in a couple different ways. You can always try to even out the revenue distribution to minimize the risk of that whale. Or you can just get smaller clients, make the contracts longer for those whales so that they stay for longer, and that actually kind of brings down the risk of them leaving. Or get more whales, just get more clients, get more bigger clients. It might sound counterintuitive, but one whale leaves and you have 12 remaining. Does that matter? Probably not as much, right? Or simply fire them. Fire them before it gets worse. Fire them before something inevitable happens. And 60 to 70% of the time, those whales are actually the ones that give you the most problems, expect the most, and complain the most because they bring so much revenue. They're expecting the most from you. So fire them. You can do that. It's your business. So those were the two first key risks of a business. And those things are the ones that can affect you the most. So on the third and last one for today, we have single channel risk. Now, this is a very specific risk. This usually only applies when you go from a small business to a medium business, when you're around that $1 million a month mark. And until you get there, this doesn't really apply to you, and you'll understand why. So single channel risk is essentially when you acquire your customers from a single source, not a single platform. So this might be when you get them from Facebook, when you either get organic leads, or you get paid ad leads. If you get them all from your paid ad leads and you get them from nowhere else, that's a single channel risk. Now, why does this even matter? Say that tomorrow a new regulation passes and, Facebook ads get shut down, or TikTok gets shut down, or I actually don't think Twitter will ever get shut down, but if Google ads get shut down because of a new regulation, you never know. You're not in control of these things. So if you're making a decent amount of revenue each month and all of your clients come from one single channel, you might want to spread it out throughout different channels and different platforms just to mitigate the risk of anything ever happening, right? A way to combat this without needing to change anything is having high revenue retention. High revenue retention is essentially when you have clients that give you money on the first year. They bought something, a service or a product on the first year, and then they bought again the next year, right? That amount of money year over year, that percentage is the revenue retention. So high revenue retention equals lower single channel risk. Let me explain. The higher your revenue retention, the lower the risk of single channel failure, because those clients are already renewing. So even if the platform were to fail, you still have those customers coming back year over year because you have a great product or something. But essentially, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is, like I said, spreading out your acquisition channels. So just investing in not just Facebook ads, but also Google ads, content creation via TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram Reels. This also applies to different ad types and ad placements. So if you're only doing like picture ads or ad copies, you can also implement video ads or TV ads if people still do TV ads, or more print marketing. The more you spread out your overall client acquisition channels, the best for you, right? Like I said, this only really applies if you're doing consistently large amounts of money. When you're starting out, whatever works, and you double up on that. Just keep on doing it. But eventually, you get big enough, you can fail if something were to happen. If an algorithm were to change, or like I said, a regulation were to go through and things just change and now your customers can't find you anymore, then that's a risk. So that is key channel risk. All right, so we went through all 3 key risks out of 5 major value detractors. A recurring theme that you might be able to tell is key thing risk, right? There's always a thing, one thing, whether it's a key man risk being one person, whether it's a key client risk being one client, or a key channel risk being one channel. Don't just stick to one single thing. Distribute, delegate, and spread out and conquer. The more spread out and the more delegated you are as you grow, the better off it'll be for you, the better off it'll be for your business. And whenever you eventually want to make that exit, want to make that sell, your enterprise value will skyrocket and will not be held up to these key risks. So, lesson of the day, spread yourself out. Don't focus single-handedly into one person, one channel, or one client. Delegate, mitigate risks as much as possible, and you won't have to worry about this. That's all for today. Quick little video. You guys have a great day. This is Ricardo. This is the journey from 0 to million and beyond. And we'll catch you guys later. See you.